Hello folks and welcome back to the podcast. I'm your host Joe to Love. Well, SummerSlam last night was certainly fun. Certainly fun to watch and certainly have to talk about it because man, it was certainly a fun show and much happened from top to bottom. But I think it's safe to say the big thing, if there's one storyline to detail SummerSlam in particular, it'd be the implosion of the Judgment Day. The Judgment Day, had two very strong riffs in the whole group last night, which will have huge ramifications going forward on just what's next, and it leaves you to question because the bloodline has been the main thing on SmackDown, whereas the Judgment Day has been the main thing on Raw. Now the Judgment Day, as we know, seems to be over. And yeah, it's interesting. What I mean is, let's talk about it. So first, we had Liv Morgan versus Rhea Ripley. Liv Morgan, of course, she injured Rhea Ripley. Ripley has been out for a couple months. Liv Morgan has been trying to get on the good side of Dominic Mysterio and the Judgment Day as well. And of course we know how closely tied Rhea Ripley and Dominic Mysterio are on WWE television. So how would Dominic fare in this match and this eventual feud? Well, the outcome, I think everyone knew that what would happen. I just don't think anyone expected it this soon, as Dominic Mysterio, after he seemed to have pledged his allegiance to Rhea Ripley over Liv Morgan, ultimately sided with Liv Morgan over Rhea Ripley, and which led to Rhea Ripley's defeat and planted a smooch and ultimately on Liv Morgan, and Dominic and Liv ultimately left side by side. And was this mommy Rhea Ripley, whichever you want to call her, she was left dejected and whatever you want to say in the ring. And what's next? Well, a feud. This isn't it between Rhea Ripley and Liv Morgan. Certainly to say. Now with Dominic more entrenched in the story, we'll see. And then the other thing, factoring in the Judgment Day. So, in the World Heavyweight Championship match, the second to last match, was Damian Priest versus Gunther, the winner of the King of the Ring. And it's safe to say these two world title matches between Cody and Solo and Gunther and Priest weren't the marquee matches, but at least with Gunther and Priest, they certainly did about as good as they could have done as far as a wrestling match, and gained interest going into this match the last couple of weeks, with Gunther being a prick and Priest being a champion who has been fitting more into his babyface role, it appears. So what I mean by the end of the match, so Finn Balor was out there, and we know how closely tied Damian Priest and Finn Balor are in the Judgment Day. So Priest hit a South of Heavens chokeslam on Gunther and seemingly was primed to retain his title. But out of Priest and Gunther and the referee's vision, Balor put Gunther's foot on the bottom rope and thus allowed Gunther to stay in the match, and that surprised people. Not only that, but there was a spot in the match where Gunther looked like he was trying to choke out Priest, but Priest just rose from the ashes and saw Balor try to choke him out on the outside, but ultimately Priest's anger got the better of him, and Gunther capitalized and choked out Priest in the middle of the ring. And we have a new world heavyweight champion, the Ring General. Sorry if I can't do it as well as Gunther or Kaiser, which, by the way, hopefully he recuperates and has a fast recovery, because he certainly adds more to Gunther than more realize. But yeah, Gunther is finally world champion. It's great to see. Just great to see after, his time in NXT, then what he did to get himself in shape, and his illustrious reign as Intercontinental Champion. Now we'll get into that title in a sec. And now Gunther is at the start or miss a long, what appears, reign as world champion. And how can you not be intrigued about how this run is going to go? I mean, Gunther is great. Is great. You can say what you want about, he's as good as an old school heel as you can be in this day and age. I mean, the way he acts, the way his cadence, the way he wrestles, I mean, It's great. Even though it takes you back, I do get it if people say they're bored of them, but still, it's like confusing, really, to say. But yeah, Gunther is finally world champion. And then the main events, which the fact that this was the main event really meant one thing, and that we're going to get the return of one Roman Reigns. I mean, it's like, I feel like Triple H would have loved, sincerely loved, if the last visual on the show was Gunther as world champion. But the fact that Roman Reigns to return and to help Cody Rhodes win or retain the Undisputed WWE Championship, I mean, in hindsight, you get it, you understand it, although the Roman Reigns part helping Cody is a little confusing. So, Cody first solo, Bloodline rules. So, first of all, I gotta say that I sincerely hope he's not hurt. Because, so the other day on SmackDown, Jacob Fatu and Tama Tonga won the WWE Tag Team Championships from DIY, Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa. And there was one spot where, again, hopefully it was just a great sell job, because it did not look great. Because, and we see it too much in wrestling now, dives through the outside. There are a lot of spots, repetitive spots, that we don't need to see a lot of in wrestling anymore. And there are dives through a table on the outside, WWE, AEW, etc. And because of those bloodline rules, Kobe was on the outside on the table, and Fatu, with a dive from the top rope, threw Kobe through the table on the outside, but it looked like his knee clipped the edge of the table on his way down, and it's like the way he got up and how angrily frustrated he was. It just, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. Maybe because Roman Reigns make his return, you know, maybe people speculating, maybe they're trying to save for that. But it was not too pretty. But again, hopefully he's okay, because, you know, He's only been in WWE for a few weeks, but the fact is he's made such an impact already that, you know, the margin of error, and you don't want to see him be hurt now, especially Roman Reigns being back. Yeah, we'll see. But finish match came, so Cody and Solo were down, and Roman's music hit, and it sounds like it's a little bit different. Not too different, but sounds a bit different. So Roman came down, no Paul Heyman. He's still out after that attack from the Bloodline. So Roman came out and went into the ring, and I like how they were speculating who Roman was after. And Roman got in the ring, hit a Superman punch to Solo, his spear on Solo, gave a nod to Cody. Cody followed up with a crossroads for the win and retains the undisputed WWE Championship. And Roman was at the top of the stage. Cody was on the turnbuckle. Bit of respect in between them. So was upset with Fatu around the announce area. So we'll see. We'll see. But I can get that Roman helping Cody retain the title certainly has people puzzled, because at the end of the day, Cody was the one to take the title from Roman. And yes, Solo has him posted as the new tribal chief, but Cody was the one who took the title from Roman. So that's why I had in my head that Roman returning after the match when might have made more sense, because I get Bloodline Rules, factor in, Fatu and Tama Tonga, but Roman helping Cody, that's a little puzzling for some. So, but we'll see what happens going forward. Now that Roman's returned, when do we see Jimmy Uso return again? Because at Money in the Bank, when we saw John Cena make his announcement, we saw Jimmy Uso. But yeah, the question is, when do we see Jimmy back? What how does Jey Uso factor in this? What does The Rock think? Certainly interesting. But yeah, we'll see. Hopefully Fatu is not hurt in this. We'll see. Now let's talk about some of the other stuff that happened on SummerSlam as well. Braun Breaker won his first time of hopefully many titles in WWE as far as the main roster is concerned. As he won in a fairly good match for Sami Zayn. You look back and people were upset that Sami was the one to dethrone Gunther at WrestleMania for his Intercontinental Championship. And, people were speculating that Chad Gable would dethrone Sami. That was not the case. And in hindsight, it makes sense because Braun is better as a heel. He's just fully better as a heel. And to take the title on the grand stage of SummerSlam away from Sami, that was a great moment. Great scene. After a big spear, and Papa Rick Steiner was in attendance. Uncle Scott Steiner was in attendance. Hell of a moment for Braun. Great stuff. LA Knights. I get his fan base. And it's funny, I was in the mall yesterday. I saw a number of shirts. And going back to this moment, certainly much needed. LA Knights versus Logan Paul. Logan Paul, again, time and time again, he does show up and he does bring it. And we kind of appreciate about that. But this certainly felt like a moment LA Knight had to have. Because last year people were preaching about the Money in the Bank contract. He didn't win it. Potentially him being Roman for the World Championship. He didn't do it. He beat AJ at WrestleMania, but he lost to AJ shortly after. So, and he didn't win the Money in the Bank contract this year. So it's like, this felt like a moment LA Knight had to have, and great in doing so. Beat Logan Paul in a game match, Blood First Trauma 1, 2, 3, and LA Knight is the new United States champion. And plus the fact is, Logan Paul did not have a great run as the United States champion. I mean, there was that report of okay, he's gonna be full time, you know, this or that, and had 2 title offenses up the U.S. title, but then this title run goes on and on and on, and he doesn't defend it. And it's like, I get there are certain specialty matches that you want to see Logan Paul in, but as a champion, and this is my gripe with, if you guys heard my AEW Dynamite review, you'll have heard me gripe about the Young Bucks and their AEW Tag Team title run. I mean, they have not really defended the titles since they won them back in Dynasty in April. So it's like, they were in a eliminator match for C Claim and lost. Okay. And they're going to drag that to All In. And it's like, ay. But last with LA Knight here wins against Logan Paul. Solid match, solid ending. Great stuff for LA Knight. If there's one moment where people were scratching their heads about, it was Nia Jax beating Bayley for the Women's Championship. And when you look back, you're not surprised because you honestly feel bad because Bayley did not really feel like a champion since beating Io at WrestleMania. I mean, she didn't really feel like propped up as a champion. It's like she had a couple defenses here and there, but she really didn't feel like a champion. I don't think people could say Nia won the Queen of the Ring, and then we get closer to SummerSlam, you're like, would it be surprising if Nia wins on Saturday? And it doesn't really feel like a surprise. It's just head scratching how. And then Tiffany Stratton came out to tease that she was going to cash in the Money in the Bank briefcase, but she didn't really. But definitely feels like they're teasing a cash in. And obviously that moment will be big when it happens. So we'll see when we get there. But yeah, Nia Jax, the new women's champion. And then match that was certainly the best builds going into the pay-per-view with the animosity, the feud, the bad blood, whichever you want to say. CM Punk, Drew McIntyre, with Seth Rollins as special guest referee. many callbacks and references going back to 1997 with Shawn Michaels, guest referee for Bret Hart versus The Undertaker. Instances now. The feud is great. The build was great. The match, I feel, underwhelmed to some. And that's fine. You know, Seth Rollins was made special guest referee for a reason. I feel like maybe CM Punk, you know, again, his first match back since the Rumble, and you want to. They're probably hesitant because, you know, he's been pretty much injured for the majority of the last few years since his return. That's just how it is. And you just want to be sure, want to get through this feud, because outside the bloodline, this is the best feud they got in WWE. And the match was fun with its nuances, with the bracelets, and, you know, Seth Rollins, you know, not wanting to be a slouch for a referee, and it was certainly a fun ending with, you know, bracelet that McIntyre took, and what Seth Rollins took away from McIntyre, which ultimately distracted Punk and led to his loss, defeat, because Punk had won, and then he saw that Rollins had the bracelet on, and they were arguing, and Punk attacked Rollins, took back the bracelet, ultimately ate a low blow, and then a claymore by McIntyre, and then 1, 2, 3 by Rollins, and there was that. It was a hell of an ending to some match, and obviously this is not the only match. McIntyre needed to win the first match. You know, the feud's not over. So those that complain about Punk not winning the first match, I get it, but the feud's not over. So we'll see how it is. But all in all, I thought SummerSlam was fun, and I'm very intrigued to see where they go after, because tonight is Raw. We'll see how it goes, and SmackDown on Friday. We'll see. But nonetheless, hope you guys enjoyed SummerSlam as well as I did, guys. Thank you all for joining me today on the podcast. Hope you guys enjoyed it. If you guys did, leave a like, thumbs up, subscribe if you guys haven't. But thank you guys all. Be safe. I'm AJ to Love. See you guys next time. Peace.